All right, shalom, shalom. Before we get started, we're gonna give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem,
About
Yahushai, Bahashem, Charkodash. We want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And want to give a salutation unto the hopeful elect scattered across the four corners of this earth, striving for salvation. This is the brother Yatazakbar from the GMS Nebraska camp. I'm here with
call them off.
Khan Khan. And in this lesson, we want to go into this article. What's the title of that article?
The title of the article is Microchips could be put under prisoners' skin to track them, tech bosses tell prison minister. And that's
And
from
off
dailymail.com.
and off the rip, let's grab Revelation 13, verse 16. Because this isn't a thing where it's microchips could be put under prisoner skin to track them. They will be put under prisoner skin to track them. You know, um, so let's get that precept and then we'll elaborate.
Done. I got Revelation 13:16. It says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads."
So this scripture, we've talked about this time and time and time and time again. I'm sure there's thousands of videos out now with us talking about the MOTB, and what it's speaking about is that no matter your position in society, no matter how much money you got, no matter how much, what status you are, and like it says, whether you're a civilian out and free and walking, or if you're in prison, you are going to have that chip within you. And the thing is, it's like this chip is going to be the new form of a social security number. If you are a number in the system, if you are a part of Esau's grid, then you will have that chip in you. And we already know these prisoners are already, they have their prisoner numbers. I don't know what the proper name for it is, but the new form of that is going to be is going to be that chip. That's going to be you know, a a a mandatory thing. When you get locked up, they gonna want to put that chip in you. Now you had something you go. I'll
Yeah,
just
I
listen.
was just thinking about it. To add on to what you're saying, you had the individual Yuval Noah Harari. What they label him as a historian, I guess, but he did make a mention of hacking humans, and that the new surveillance was gonna be subdermal. And that's like the brothers going into, like, everybody's gonna be subject unto that. So it's gonna be, that's their plan to, like, if you're a human being, U.S. citizen, you know what I'm saying. No matter your status, you're gonna be, the plan is for you to be tracked in that fashion, and for them to collect biometric data, So yeah, but just wanted to add that because that's what it brought to mind, how nobody's gonna be exempt from that, you know.
I was gonna say, to add on to what both of you brothers are saying, not too long ago, the CEO of Nokia, he was speaking about cell phones. He said in the future these things would be built into us, you know. So
Mhm.
it's all heading that way, man. It's all headed that way.
Con. And and like the brother said, these Edomites, these elites at Esau, these rulers, they want the surveillance to be under the skin because with the surveillance that they have right now, even though it's already a great deal of surveillance, things can go under the radar. And Esau wants to mimic the Most High's power as best as he can. And you know, one of the ways that he wants to do that is putting the surveillance within us, so that there is no hiding from him, so that there is no uh, uh, escaping Esau's sight. He wants that chip in you, and hey, that's why all these huge data centers are being built, because that's all going to be a part of the system that's going to be tracking where everybody is, what everybody's doing, their vitals, their status, so um we know that the Most High is omnipresent. He sees all, as the scriptures say. The eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. You know, beholding all the ways of men, roughly paraphrasing, which is showing that nothing is out of the Lord's eyesight. Well, this is Esau's cheap way of mimicking that, or expensive way of mimicking that, you know. And so, what was I about to say? I lost my train of thought.
Can I bring this out while you
Kind,
do
kind of
that?
Baba
Just
Shah.
to kind of back you up, with the data centers. I
Mm.
just typed into Google, how many data centers are being built and at what pace. It says globally over 1,500 new data centers are currently planned or under construction. The pace is unprecedented, with companies expected to invest up to $700 billion into AI-focused infrastructure to meet skyrocketing computing demand.
Yeah, that's a lot of money that's being pumped into this. That's because this is the future. This is the next step that Esau wants to take. This is the fourth industrial revolution, where man will be merged with machine. And this is going to be a global thing. That's why all that money is being pumped into it. Because we're not just going to see this in America. We're going to see this in China. We're going to see this in Russia. We're going to see this in Africa. This is going to be all over the place. You know,
Oh yeah,
and
sure. It's like, yeah,
go ahead, bro.
like you mentioned, those places, they actually already doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, me and the brother was talking the other day. Um, there was something that popped up on my news feed where China they have underwater data centers. Large underwater data centers, and it's actually smarter than how America is doing it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that this is something that's good for humanity, but they're doing it a smarter way. At least it's not going to affect humans. It's not going to. Plus, it's already in a cooling system. Via that water. So and then I was listening to another news article where Nigeria. It was a couple places in Africa that they're already setting up data centers too. So I just wanted to add that tidbit.
Yeah, and you got the data centers being set up in certain places, and then you got digital IDs being set up in many countries as well. Like Madagascar, I got this headline which says Madagascar has completed 2.6 digital ID enrollments in 2 months. Like, what the hell Madagascar doing with digital IDs? But that shows you, that this is a global grid that's being created. This is going to be a thing that's consolidating all these different countries to where we're not going to be in the system no more where you got America with the US dollar, and you got the UK using the pound and China using the yuan. No, everybody's going to be under the same system of currency, of trade. It's all going to be under that digital system, that B system, which is going to be the MOTB. You know, so
I got a precept for you.
Babusha.
This is Psalms chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying,
Exactly, because the thing is Esau is the head of the operation, of course, but this is a thing that the heathen are in on as well, because the heathen want to cement their positions of power and of rulership. They don't want to get left behind with this new system that we're going into. So if they don't want to be left behind, if they don't want to be primitive in comparison to the rest of the world, then they're like, all right, we gonna go with this system as well. So these heathen is gonna be right along with Esau with pushing this technology upon the populations. You know, did you have something you want to get off as well, Kawashop?
yeah, no, just to back you up what you just said, I know that China and America, they're working together with the brain chip. Even though they're competing at the same time, they have allowed, I forgot the name of that CEO with when we did that video on the squishy chips that they got
Hmm.
that are kind of like flesh. He's going over there to China and testing it out on some Chinese people over there. So
Yeah,
it's a global, like you're saying, a global effort.
yeah, yeah. Kind. So a part of that consolidation into and everything being into this new system is going to be prisons. You know, um, And the world is gonna be like one big prison once this chip is implemented. If you have the MOTB inside you, you might as well be a prisoner for Esau because now you can't live the way that you want to live. You have to speak how Esau wants you to speak. You have to think how he wants you to think. Because if you got that chip inside you, now you're like I said, you have to walk as Esau wants you to walk. And if you are thinking things that he doesn't want you thinking, saying things he don't want you saying, you could be penalized. Esau could turn your chip off. He could put a shock of electricity through your system. Like, nigga, what what you thinking about that for? What you talking about? Get back right. You are now a you know, like one of you really one of Esau's subjects at that point. And it's
I,
ancient, you know. You can't do nothing about it.
I
You have
appreciate
some Kamboksha.
it. It's Second Peter chapter 2 and verse 19
Mm,
says, while they promised them liberty, they themselves are the servants of corruption, for of whom a man is overcome, of the same is he brought in bondage.
you got it, bro.
So um that's it's pretty much plain to the point because once you consent to that MOTB, that like you mentioned, you chose your God, you chose who you're gonna serve, and you have to abide by their rules, however they go. And it's the same with us, like in the ministry. We are like the Apostle Paul said, he's a prisoner of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, so he's brought into bondage, and figuratively speaking, under the law, statutes, and commandments, and the rule of the Heavenly Father. And nothing's going to shake them from that foundation. So the same with this MOTB, those people who deem it to be a better way of living, convenient, or whatever it is that they think, and they consent to it. Well, you chose your side, you chose your God. Stay over there because you can't. Know the scriptures say you can't repent from that. Once you get that MOTB, it's a wrap. You over there, until the Most High destroys you.
Mhm.
Yeah, you got it, brother.
So we can read into that article some.
Come on. So the article, um, I read the title again. It's from Daily Mail. It says microchips could be put under prisoner skin to track them. Tech bosses tell prison minister, and this is dated June 2nd, 2026. Updated also. So it says, getting into it, it says microchips could be inserted under the skin of offenders to track their movements. Tech bosses have suggested, excuse me, since the proposal was put forward by tech bosses as a way of monitoring prisoners in real time and around the clock.
And that's the thing, it's around the clock 24/7 surveillance, pinpoint surveillance at that. And again, Esau is already surveilling us, but there's ways to go in hiding, so to speak. These phones, for example, are tracking you. Esau got the location on these phones. And if you have it on you, Esau know where you at, period. But like the brother said, you all know Harari, what did he say? We want the phones inside you because a person can leave their phone at home. A person can, walk without a phone. you know, um, you got these different tracking things that track your cars and stuff like that. But you can travel without a car. You can travel somewhere that doesn't have cameras wherever you're at. But Esau's like, okay, how can we circumvent people hiding from our sight? Well, let's just put the camera within them, you know?
Right.
So let's read on.
Since the idea was suggested as part of a quote unquote roundtable event with the prison's Minister Lord Tipson and representatives from Firmtex, says other ideas put forward included driverless prison vans and robot run jails. The meeting took place last year with representatives from more than 30 companies, including Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, but details have only stated to emerge now.
Yeah, and the thing is, prisoners could be the first, uh, for lack of better words, the first wave of who Esau um pushes this technology upon, so that it can become normalized, so that people can get with the technology. Because if Esau was to introduce this and say, hey, we're about to start putting this in prisoners so that we can, track them and surveil them and make sure that they're, you know, doing the things they're supposed to be doing. Some people might be with it. Some people might say, "Oh, this would be a good thing so that prisoners can't escape prison." You know, um, to make sure that they're not doing any, to make sure that they're being having good behavior and stuff. And that could be the introductory thing to where people are like, okay, we're seeing the good that it's doing for prisons. What if we started to implement it, in the real society as well? That's just, a possibility of things that it could be, but we could read on.
Huh. Says firms also suggested that AI can be used to predict the risk posed by certain individuals.
Right, and it's because that's the thing that the MOTB is going to be go hand in hand with AI, and it says that it's going to be used to predict the risks posed by certain individuals, and that's what this AI does. It goes off of patterns. It goes off of, this person does this when they feel like this. This person travels this way so many times throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout the year. Just like they want to implement that AI, they want to create like police cities that can predict crime before it happens, which is wicked because Esau wants to create this thing that so-called predicts crime before it happens, and they want to get to the point to where they lock you up or detain you for something before you even did it, and we see that in certain movies, for example. Isn't that a Minority Report, I believe, where they was doing that, locking people up before they even did a crime, you know? But that's the thing. Is Esau trying to be like the Most High? Because the Most High knows what we're gonna do before we do it.
But
And Esau wants to get to that same level. You got it, bro.
I got something for you because I remember some weeks back, me and the brother we were talking, and I forget how it came up. I think we were talking about how they had everyone had to have those. Pretty much all cars were going to be surveilled. I believe that's where the conversation stemmed from, which that's invasion of privacy. But that's not what I want to get on. There was a term called emotion AI, right? Where it was, it predicts. Well, I looked it up. It says emotion AI or effective computing predict feelings by analyzing observable cues like facial expressions, vocal tones, and body language. So it's going to determine how you feel. It's not like it's an emotion gauger in a sense. So oh yeah, because that's how it came up. Because if they feel like you're not suitable to drive, based off of your tone or based off of how you look, they can shut your car down. You know what I'm saying? You're not fit to drive. So that type of technology is what Esau Edom is planning to work on. And one more thing, if brother want to add to that, I can, because there's something else I was looking up with the Devono Harari with the subdermal thing, because he made mention of something that you mentioned also, where it was like, where did it go? Where is it at? I lost it. But it was, some going into also like gauging the emotions too, with that, like as far as the chip is concerned. So I got to find it. I had it pulled up, but I don't know what happened to it. But yeah, you got it, brother. I just wanted to mention that if I find it, if it's if there's reason to bring it back up, I'll bring it up.
God. Yeah, I want to make mention as well, while it's on, at the top of my mind that, there was talks about a prison program where, you know, basically prisoners would get that chip inside of them. And instead of serving the time for whatever crime that they commit, let's say that you have a 20-year sentence, a 15-year sentence or something like that. You can serve your sentence within minutes. And Esau pumps a bunch of false memories and like AI generated memories and experiences in your brain as if you served your whole sentence, but in the span of minutes. And that goes into because the thing about this chip is that this is going to be a choice that people are making. This is going to be a thing to where you are pledging your allegiance to the system. And there's going to be certain benefits involved that's going to make people want to do that. That being one of those things to where a person can hear that and be like, man, I don't got to go to prison for 15 years or 20 years. I can just go in, do this, and then I can, go back to spending time with my family. I'll go through that simulated process. But the thing is, like we were speaking about before the lesson, what what else is Esau going to be pumping in your mind? If he can pump fake memories, if he can, um, like I said, within them talks of that prison program, they want to make your brain feel the emotions that your victim felt. Let's say that you murdered somebody or something like that, right? They want to make you feel what you made your victim feel so that you can be empathetic toward it and so that you can be reformed. Like, okay, I'll never do that crime again. But what else is Esau gonna pump in your mind?
Mhm.
You know,
God, I
all
got.
that he's it's like what you say, Kawashab?
Oh no, that was just say whenever you I got a preset for you whenever you're ready.
Con, go ahead, bro.
This is Sirach 12 and 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
You got it, bro.
God, like your brother said, we don't know what Esau's gonna be pumping in your head if you decide to go with that deal. I mean, we
hmm
know Esau is an unjust ruler, so you can only imagine that that's gonna be a terrible idea. It's like they talk about on the Joe Rogan podcast, they talked about, ayahuasca and certain drugs that make you feel like you lived a lifetime and, you know, in an hour or something. And people have come back very traumatized, man. Now,
Oh
what
yeah.
is Esau gonna be showing you there? He's probably gonna make you you know, like the perfect model citizen for his wicked society in that experience. And it's not gonna be pretty, man,
At all.
be torturous, man, because that's how Esau is, man. I just watched that movie yesterday. The brothers put me on it. It's called Get Out, you know. And spoiler alert, but in that movie, the main character, they were gonna try to, you know, basically do surgery on his brain and put someone else's consciousness in there. But they said a small part of him would still be in there, but he would have no control. So he's in his body as a passenger and he has no control over what he does now. Okay. And, in the movie, you saw glimpses of that part of them still being in them when Chris would talk to them about certain things and then they would tear up a little bit. And then that other spirit in them would take control again and be like, no, I'm very happy. And that shit just makes you think like, yeah, that's how it's gonna be, man.
Boy,
I would never take hey Jake don't want to take that brain chip, man. I mean,
boy.
don't do it,
I
man.
seen that movie years ago, and just remembering that scene kind of gave me a little chill. Like, damn, bro, that's damn.
Yeah. But that's the
But
thing. Just
corner
go ahead. It's
with
like
the dancing and shit. Like, he's fucking demons, bro. You remember the Jake at the picnic? He was in the corner just by himself, kind of just dancing. Like, what the fuck is he doing? That was Esau, and his continent. Like, damn, this buddy is tight. Like this shit, you know. Oh, Esau's a
Yeah.
cool, but you got that.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like for people who got that chip, it's going to be like you in a sunken place kind of state, because Esau gonna have his system running through you. He gonna have that AI playing in you, and you can't even be who you really want to be no more. If Esau has in his society things that you don't agree with, well, you don't got no choice but to agree with it at this point, because you got that chip in you, and you'll be penalized if you don't. So you really in a sunken place kind of thing where you just gotta go along to get along. Yeah, this is okay. I agree with this. Like that's man, that's a scary place to be in.
Mhm.
You know, that's just one reason amongst many why we don't want to get that chip. But the main reason is because we don't want to pledge allegiance to Esau's system. We want to pledge our allegiance to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. That is who the true power is. And with this technology, Esau is trying to step in the way of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and say, I'll be your power. Depend on me. I'll give you everything you need. I'll make sure your life is beautiful. You don't need the Most High. You need me, and that's a very large like scale of wickedness. Idol worship in and of itself is a large scale of wickedness, but to have Esau as your idol and as your God in the place of the Most High, come on now, But let's read on that article.
Says oh yeah. Yep. So it says back in the article, Lord Tipson told the meeting that quote unquote once in a generation reform is the only way we can truly deal with the scale of the crisis, cut crime, and speed up justice. He added, I want technology to play an integral role in tackling these problems and making our streets safer.
Bible Kushal, let's grab Psalm chapter 58, verse 3.
Uh, this is Psalms 58,
Or Salaki, I'm tripping. Psalms 55, verse 21.
55, 21. Psalms 55, verse 21 says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter,
Mm-hmm.
but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
Yeah, so Esau is coming with this angle, like what did he say? He said, I want technology to play an integral role in tackling these problems and making our streets safer. Like that politician talk, you know? And it sounds like, oh man, they have such good motives and goals with this technology, and that's that them being smoother than butter, you know, smoother than oil. But the whole time Esau has a evil plot that he's doing. That it goes into that precept that the brother brought out: never trust thine enemy. For like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. And it's the same thing, just like in that movie Get Out, like we was talking about. You had the Chris's girlfriend in the movie, the Edomite, and until a certain part in the movie, you thought she's on his side. And she's playing this role so well that she's just introducing them to her parents, and she's weirded out the same way he weirded out. Man, I'm sorry my family's being like this. I don't know what's wrong with them. She going to bat for him in front of the police and all that. And then at just like that, she was a demon. She was playing a role the whole time. And that's what Esau is doing. He's playing a role. He's gonna come on these advertisements. He's gonna put all these different rhetorics and these different talking points out there. Like we're trying to help people. This is the next step of evolution. This is gonna make everybody safer, better, healthier. And Esau just want to control you. You know.
Yeah. Hey, Coach Shop, you still got that Ciroc 12 pulled up? Because it's
Rock 12 Khan. Yep.
uh, go to jump down to verse 16.
Khan. Sirach 12, verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit.
Yeah, because it's really like the brothers going into it. It's really all a ploy, man. It's all
Mm.
a ploy for domination of humanity, and to enslave everybody. But like Esau is the number one car salesman, man. He can sell salt to a snail. You know what I'm saying? And the snail is ultimately those who are not privy to his devices.
Okay.
You know, you continue on up.
Khan, it says, he will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood.
Yeah, that's just his characteristics, man. That's just one of his elite characteristics is to sell you a pipe dream, and whatever happens to you happens.
Hmm.
You can be an experiment. You know what I'm saying? Like the brother mentioned with the jail thing. We don't know what bad turn that could take. You're a lab rat at that point. And Esau, oh, well, you be with your family, and you don't have to. Oh, cool. I've been waiting to get up out of here. And you don't know what type of psychological damage that to do to you, how it physically affects you. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, you gotta keep your eyes on this devil, man, at all time. He's a bad kid on the playground with ill intent.
Hey,
You know,
bro. like this headline just came on my phone, and it's a little off topic, but it's still on topic. Where it's Trump says that he never promised no new wars. And that right there is showing Esau's deceitful way. Like, yes, you did promise no new wars. You promised that you was gonna stop all wars, that you was gonna bring peace. But he talking about nah, we not the Department of Defense no more. We the Department of War, nigga.
Mm,
He's starting new wars himself. You know what I'm saying? And then he gonna sit in everybody face and be like, "What? Yeah, I said no new wars. No, you're tripping. He gonna gaslight everybody."
God, bro, that gaslight is perfect. That's what he's doing.
He gonna gaslight everybody. Esau will do that. He will sit in front of your face for months and months and months leading up to the election and say he gonna do this and do that, and then not do it, and then say that you tripping for saying that he was gonna do that. This is a deceitful man we dealing with, bro. You can't trust him, you know, and especially these elites with what they doing with this chip. They gonna act like this is all good, and then you're gonna be in a snare and you can't do nothing about it.
Mhm.
You know, and Esau ain't gonna care at all. If you I don't want this in me no more, Esau. The thing with the brain chip is probably gonna be a thing to where if you want to take that chip out of you, you got to die. You know, or even with that the chip in your hand as well, because Esau is with this chip, he's binding it
Mhm.
to your DNA at that point. It's gonna be a part of your system. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so it's
Now,
probably not. Go ahead, bro.
yeah, now I did find as you brought it back up, I did find that something that you've all know Harari said. So it's under the subsection of the end of free will. It says that he argued that algorithms gain the ability to monitor our psychological responses. Authority will shift from the individual to algorithms that know us better than we know ourselves.
Like, no, bro. I know myself better than a damn
Yeah,
algorithm, dude.
yeah. But like you were mentioning, that God complex, man. That's what it is. It's that God complex, because how Basham al Shad knows what he knows us better than we know ourselves. He's the only one that truly knows us better than we know ourselves. But Esau is trying to like, nah, man, we gotta be better than the God of the Bible. We gonna figure this out how we can know these people better than they know themselves. Let's use this technology. So yeah, it's that fucking God complex. But yep, you got it, brother.
Uh,
Con, I
you got
got
some cover shot.
Con. This is Isaiah chapter 14 and starting at verse 12. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I
Yeah.
will ascend.
Salakia. Before you read on, I just wanted to clear up that verse 12 because it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? And a lot of people hear this precept and think this is talking about Satan falling from heaven and this is Satan's backstory and all that. No, that word Lucifer just means light bearer, you know. And Esau is the light bearer in this time, you know. That's why he calls himself the Illuminati, the illuminated ones, the ones that bear the light, you know. And it says, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And Esau is ruling over this earth today, ruling over the nations, but he's going to be brought down. So I just wanted to put that out there real fast. Can you read back at verse 13 about Prashad?
Verse 13, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
Yeah, you can read verse 14 as well.
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
And this is a rhetoric that Esau pushes. You know, he says we don't need the God of the Bible. He says we can be better than the God of the Bible with this technology. We're creating a better system, you know. But it says what? That he's going to be cut down. That's why when you read on, it says what? Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell to the sides of the pit. You know, so at the end of the day, what this is going to lead to is Esau's downfall. You know, and a hardcore slavery and eventually death for their entire nation. The nation going to be cut off because this is the type of wickedness that comes out of Esau being around. And that's why that scripture said again, Sirach 12 and 10, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. For you to properly get rid of rust, you just got to cut it out altogether. You can't paint over rust. If it's small enough, you can scrape the rust off. But if it's a deep ingrained issue where you have rust on a car, on a bumper or something like that, you just got to cut that piece that the rust is on completely off or just replace the bumper completely. Because that rust going to keep on spreading and coming back. And that's why Esau has to be completely destroyed from this earth because there has this is the most wicked plot and scheme that has ever been devised on this earth, you know? And if you leave one Edomite, you leave just a few Edomites, that rust is going to keep growing. That wickedness is going to, spread, and that has to be completely rooted out this earth.
Kind of got a preset.
Baruch Shah.
This is Obadiah chapter 1 verse uh 18. It says, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble."
Hmm. And that's saying the house of Jacob and the house of Joseph is talking about the southern and northern kingdom of the nation of Israel. So it's basically saying that we're going to be a fire and Esau is going to be stubble. And stubble is basically like very flammable, like a small, thin, like material that you would use to basically like start up a fire, you know? So we're basically, is there more to it before I break it down?
Con.
God,
It
let's read
said,
on.
"And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh hath spoken it."
So after Esau serves 1,000 years in captivity, we're gonna round them up and bring Esau into a pit, and we're gonna burn them up, and they're gonna be completely destroyed. They're gonna suffer the same fate that America's about to suffer. you know, to be completely burnt up, never inhabited again. And so yeah, is there more to it?
La.
Con. So yeah, Esau is gonna be no more. Because you can't have somebody around that's willing to go this far to defy Yahweh Bashem Shai, to spread this level of wickedness and mischief in the earth. Look at what he did to the Lord's creation. Not only the earth, but the people. Esau is trying to rewrite humanity into being how he wants them to be. You know, he's trying to rewrite life into his own image. That's so
Mhm.
that's insanely wicked. You know, so let's get a little bit more from this article, and then we'll close the lesson out. Baba Shah, can you scroll down just a little bit to the paragraph where it says, they added, "It's worrying that justice ministers." You see the paragraph I'm talking about?
Yeah, you want to start from that point?
Yeah, let's start from that point.
Yep, it says they added
Or
it.
Salaki. You can start that paragraph up. That's like one sentence.
Okay.
Salaki.
It says let's see. Oh, it says the group told prison newspaper Inside Time that the ideas sounded alarmingly dystopian. They added, "It's worrying that justice ministers have sat with the tech sector to discuss using robots
Robots to
manage prisoners and planting devices under people's skin to track their behavior, or using computers to predict what they will do in future."
Right, and that does sound alarmingly dystopian because it is. This is the same type of future that we see in these different movies and books, such as 1984. We're going into a 1984 world. We're going into a Demolition Man world. You know, these movies where you see that technology is at the head of everything, and everybody has to is slaves to society. The Esau trying to create a totalitarian, rulership over the whole planet. That is dystopian, man.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I got a quick preset.
yep.
This is Psalms 10. Verse 5, starting at verse 4, it says, "The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight."
You can get into it, bro.
Gone, like brother said, that word dystopian, you just think of a very dark, miserable existence. And the only people enjoying it are these elites, okay? But everybody else, especially Jake, is going to be in a state of grieving or mourning, you know? You won't be able to do anything without these devils breathing over your neck because that, like you said, that chip's going to be inside of people, man, either in your brain or in your hand. Okay, just looking at China as a model for, this system, there's a lot of young Chinese already living under bridges because they broke too many rules. They got kicked out of society. It even goes so far as to control things like, when you go to the bathroom, there's a toilet paper dispenser. You got to scan your face before you clean yourself up.
You use too much toilet paper today.
Yeah, you use too much toilet paper, or oh, you're on the blacklist. Nope, you can't wipe today. Better pull
That's
up your
wild.
pants and get moving. Yeah, like it's
That's
gonna be
wild, boy.
it's gonna be every aspect of your life controlled. Video games, food. I mean, hey, you name it.
Hey,
But
yeah, because like you said, or you sent that thing where they on GTA 6, there's gonna be the first game where you gotta put your ID information in to where
mhm,
like, cause you know how people get on the game.
yeah.
People start wilding, people start saying some crazy shit. And it's like if you getting banned on the game for saying certain stuff, that's tied to your like your actual real life identification now, you
Yeah.
know? Like Esau want every part of life connected. Your social media, your finances, your online life to your outside life. Like everything is gonna be on the same thing to where, everything's tracked, man. Everything's tracked. There is no escaping the grid. That's crazy.
And it doesn't make any sense because, GTA, we know it's a game about drug violence and gang violence and all that, but they're like, well, we don't want anybody saying inappropriate things in the comments. It's like, what do you mean?
Like
I can
that's what it's
cuss, but I could chop somebody's head off in the game.
like. Come on, bro. Like be for real, bro. Be for real. He's so wild, bro. Yeah, we gotta make sure people not being violent online,
Hmm.
but go blow up a bunch of cars on the highway. Like Esau is a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only one. It's not enough room for one more than one violent person in this place.
Yeah,
But
Mhm.
we want to make sure y'all not being derogatory on Call of Duty, but y'all can go shoot each other
Mhm.
though.
Mhm.
But let's read a little bit more and we'll close the lesson up.
it says the Ministry of Justice kept most of the details of the meeting secret at the time, but said the discussion will focus on the potential for even more effective tracking of offender movement
Mhm.
using data to aid probation officers to perform better risk assessments and whether digital platforms can help offenders rehabilitate or integrate back into society, cutting reoffending.
Yeah,
And this
go
this
ahead,
kind
bro.
of reminds me of that movie. The Apostle brings up a lot, man, with Elysium. Where you had like computer based probation officers, computer police. I said computer police robots. Which are computers, but robots. That were pretty much like there's a scene in the movie. It's a slight spoiler, but it's not going. It doesn't mess the movie up. I promise. Where the main character, being Matt Damon, he went to see his probation officer, and it was a robot, and they was pretty much asking him questions, and he was kind of getting upset. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can sense that you're upset or that you're mad. It's like no, and it's pretty much he started trolling. But the point is, they start assessing whether he was good or not. You know what I'm saying? Just based off of how he was talking to him and based off of his movement. It's like, God damn, bro. So this kind of reminded me of that,
Mhm.
because he was a offender in the movie. He was a criminal, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And we got to remember the scriptures call this the hour of temptation for a reason because we're talking about it and we're saying all the reasons we aren't supposed to get it and we're making it sound like what it is, which is an evil thing. But when this is actually posed to us in real life, it's going to be a lot more tempting and it's going to seem like it's something that we should get. That's how Esau is going to push it at least. It's going to seem like something. It's going to be hard to say no. And that's just the reality of the situation because we're going to be in dire straits. We're going to be like the scriptures say, thou shalt not buy or sell unless you have the chip, and that's not just buying or selling. That's fitting into any part of society. You're going to be completely separated from this world that we've become used to, unless you have that chip, and that's why we are going to have to go out on faith to continue to say no. We're going to have to go out on faith to where if we get hurt or somebody around us gets hurt, we can't go to the hospital because we got to have that chip to go to the hospital. If we get hungry, we have to depend on the fact that what the scriptures say, the Lord gonna feed his servants because we can't go and get food unless you have the chip. So this is it sounds like you have a lot of people right now that be in these comment sections of these different articles and YouTube videos talking about the chip and they're like, man, I'll never get that. That sounds terrible. I don't know why anybody would. And everything's gonna change once society breaks down, once these black swan events hit. Let a prolonged blackout hit America. Let the dollar crash. You know, let certain things happen to where shit, how gas prices been hitting people. You'll probably have people that take the chip right now. They can get cheaper gas. So imagine gas being too expensive, food being scarce. All these different things. And the only way to stabilize yourself is getting a chip. A lot of people gonna get it. But we gonna depend on Yahweh Bashim Shai for our stability, you know, and getting us through. You know what I'm saying? Did y'all brothers have a precept? Because I was going to end on
Con.
one. Kind of let's get it.
I got Isaiah 33 and 6. It says, "In wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times,
Hmm.
and strength of salvation, the fear of Yahweh is his treasure."
Yeah. It says the fear of Yahweh is our treasure, not the fear of man, not the fear of whatever's going to be befalling us. The fear of the Lord is going to be our treasure because we're going to be like, nah, man, I'm going to listen to what the Lord told me I'm supposed to do over this. I'd rather starve before I turn my back on the Lord. Like I said, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of our times. It's the wisdom and knowledge of these scriptures. Is knowing what the scriptures tell us is going to happen. Knowing the precepts where it says that we're gonna eat, that we're gonna drink, that we don't have to worry, that the Lord is with us, that there's gonna be angels protecting us. That's gonna keep us stable. That's gonna be our faith, you know, and that is what is gonna get us through along our path unto salvation. You had something you want to get on the couch shop?
Uh,
Okay, con. Y'all brothers had any other precepts?
uh,
Let's get Isaiah 65 and let's get Isaiah 65 and 13. All right, actually, let me see. Yeah, we can grab that. We can grab that.
this is Isaiah 65, verse 13. It says, therefore, thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We are the Lord's servants, and we have to continue to hold fast, continue to keep the faith, and serve Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Because once the time comes, we're gonna be fed, and we're gonna drink, and we're gonna be in good state. And we don't know exactly how that's gonna happen yet, but we know it's gonna be through divine intervention. It's gonna be through miraculous things. The different miracles that we read about in the scriptures, we're about to start seeing those things in real life. And we have to believe that. We have to believe in situations like manna falling from heaven, like water flowing from a rock.
mhm.
You know, these are the times that we're coming into. These are the things we have to expect. And yeah, hey, that's pretty much it. Y'all brothers had anything?
You know what I'm saying?
Love.
So, hey, with that being said, once again, let's give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakodash, giving double honors to the apostles, the elders, and bishops of GMS, and salutation to the elect. Shalom.
So